Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Freaky Tales. And once again, I am your host, Tony A. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you guys follow me there on Instagram. My tag should be up. It's Freaky Tales Podcast on Instagram. So once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. For those of you guys that didn't tune in the last couple of days, we have a great lineup. For those of you guys that have not seen the last few episodes, if you don't mind me going through some of the episodes right now, the episodes that we have gone through are on the subjects of serial killers' last words. Serial killers' last words. So that was our last Freaky Tales. The one before that was animal possession. Is it possible for animals to get possessed? Before that, we talked about the 666, or should we say 666. And before that, we spoke on hell. That's what we spoke on. So once again, I want to thank everybody that has tuned in, everybody that has been not only a faithful watcher of Freaky Tales since we started this podcast, but everybody who's become a member. I want to thank everybody on the live chat, everybody who decided not to be on the live chat, everybody who liked, comment, subscribed, and shared. Thank you guys very, very much. It's because of you guys why we keep this show going. And also thankful to my team for keeping this going. Now, a topic that I want to talk about is something that I think for a lot of people it might be new. For a lot of people it might be old. Since I have been on social media, I've seen many types of different challenges. When I say challenges, if you guys recall, for a while there was that you pour a bucket of water over somebody's head challenge. You know, I believe that was on Facebook. Ice bucket challenge. So there's always been so many different challenges on social media. There's actually one that's been trending on TikTok since 2020, and it is the Benadryl challenge. But before we get into that, what I want to talk about is hallucinations. Can over-the-counter drugs, you know, open portals, cause you to hallucinate? I want to talk about that today because it's a very serious subject, because many of us have young kids. Whether your kids are still young teenagers, that's who's playing it. Both teenagers and young adults are playing these types of challenges. It amazes me that so many people find different ways on how to get high. For an example, when I was younger, I was in elementary, there was a thing that if sniffing Elmer's glue, putting the glue up to your nose and sniffing it will give you somewhat of a head rush. People blowing, or should I get taking a spray can of paint, putting it in a baggie, and then inhaling it gives you a head rush. Many people find different ways on how to get high. Even people would even say a marker, a black, big head marker. You take off the cap and you sniff it, you can get somewhat of a head rush. People throughout, since I've been alive, have always found ways on how to get high. Sometimes even a cheap high would even do it. One thing that I've been seeing for a long time, and I know a lot of you guys have seen it, and I'm talking to your parents because this pertains to our youth. And I think that we need to be careful what we have laying around our home. You know, for an example, here we have something we call the duster or the computer cleaner, and it just blows air. That's all it does. It's just supposed to dust the computer. And people shove it in their mouth and they get high. Some people like to call it a NOS, or I believe a NOS is more of a thing that they've been putting on a balloon, Alex, if I'm correct.
Nitrous. Yeah, the NOS, it comes from a bigger bottle, and it's a whole nother chemical, which is kind of like it, but the air duster itself, it does get you high, and the NOS gets you sort of that same type of high.
And it usually comes in a balloon, correct? Is that how it trends today?
The NOS, yes.
Yes.
The other one, they suck it out straight from the computer duster.
Yeah. So parents, you know what? If you ever see your kids on social media or with their friends that are holding up a balloon and it's about blown up about this much, that's what they're doing. They're inhaling NOS. Okay, and eventually it's going to end up frying their brain. You know, when I take my grandkids to the park, I like spending a lot of time with my grandkids. And sometimes at parks, you see some weird looking things. I'll give you an example. There was a guy, he could have been maybe a little bit over 20 years old or a little bit in his early 30s. He was laying on the ground, his face was all tatted up. He looked like he had been sleeping there for days. My grandbaby, who just turned 6, walks up to him and he's just looking at his face. And I told him, mijo, just, keep going. So I'm looking at the guy. I don't know if the guy's dead or not, but the guy wakes up and the first thing he does, it takes that bottle, the computer duster, and he looks around and he just shoves it right back into his mouth and he just goes back to sleep. I really don't understand why people do that, but people do that. Some people may say, Tony, only a weak-minded person would do something like that. Well, guess what? There are weak-minded people. And sometimes they don't have money to go out and get high, so they'll use whatever. And a lot of times, some of that stuff is in our own home, So that's what I've been learning a lot lately. That there's just so many different ways on how to get a high and how to get a rush. But Alex actually, somebody from my team here, Alex, who runs our show, he actually brought this to my attention that there's been a Benadryl challenge where kids have been just popping pills, and these are over-the-counter, pills. Now, this is not a drug awareness, but I am sharing this with you parents because many times we don't know what this new generation is doing, and we may have young ones, we may have brothers and sisters, or we may have nephews and nieces that are out there, and we need to be careful what they take. But what I do want to talk about is that there is different levels of taking these drugs, all depending on how many milligrams or how many pills you pop. There's different levels. I believe there's 4 to 5 different levels, and each level of pill popping requires certain milligrams. The higher you go, the higher you hallucinate, and we're going to get into all of that. But first and foremost, I want to say, my condolences to those parents that lost loved ones to this so-called TikTok Benadryl challenge. Because there was kids that have passed away because they overdosed on some of these over-the-counter drugs. Several years ago, I believe this was in Tennessee, I had read about that. They were having a sleepover. A bunch of kids, they were just having fun. According to them, they were having fun. And what they would do, they would just take pills from, the parents' cupboard. Where there were prescription pills or over-the-counter pills, and they would just grab like 3 or 4 little capsules. Well, not capsules, but the jars. Go to their friend's house and have a big old, popcorn bowl. Of course, not with popcorn, but they would just start throwing in their jars of pills. And there was probably about 25 kids there. So imagine each kid brings about 3 different types of bottles of pills, and we don't know what they are, and they're just throwing them in. And what they're supposed to do, get a beer, grab a handful of pills, pop them, and he just tripped the rest of the night. I read that when the ambulance got there, there was a bunch of kids that were foaming at the mouth, and what it looked like was like tar. According to what I read, that these kids were just overdosing. Some of the ones that lived actually said that they hallucinated and they saw things. They saw things. And I think today, a lot of kids, are and young adults like the idea of hallucinating, wanting to see things. So they have no problem, popping these over-the-counter pills. And I did my little research on this Benadryl TikTok challenge, and what it is that you're supposed to take so many to if you will, build up that your tolerance so that you can go to the next level, level 2. But we'll get into all that. So for those of you that may not know exactly what Benadryl is, it is an over-the-counter drug, and let me tell you what it's for. Benadryl is used to relieve symptoms of allergy, hay fever, and common cold. The symptoms include rash, itchy, watery eyes, itchy eyes, nose, throat, cough, runny nose, and sneezing. It is also used to prevent and treat nausea, vomiting, dizziness caused by motion sickness. Benadryl is generally safe when the recommended dosage is taken. But when you ingest more than instructed, it is one of the most powerful reality distorting drugs you can take. And that's where these kids today are trying to get to. I want to take more milligrams so that I can see what everybody's talking about on TikTok. The challenge is for you to take as many as you can so that you can hallucinate. I mean, growing up, I saw a lot of things in the movie theater. Whether it was Jaws that traumatized me, that I didn't want to go into the water. I still talk to people my age that refuse to go into the water because that movie traumatized them. There are people that can't see The Exorcist. They can't even see pictures because it traumatized a lot of us. You got movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre that traumatized us, Amityville Horror, just to name a few, traumatized us, a lot of us. But today you have a generation of kids that it's almost like they want to see something else. Since it's trending on TikTok, let's go ahead and do it. For a while, if you remember, Alex, people were actually even eating, there were those pills, those pellets that you put in the washing machine.
Oh, yeah, the Tide Pods.
The Tide Pods. Yeah, I have a friend in New York that was telling me several years back that there was a challenge that in New York, a lot of these white rich kids that were snorting coke, they got tired of it. They wanted to add a kick to it. So they started mixing it with gunpowder. And that's how they were snorting. When that wasn't enough, they started snorting shots of tequila through their nose. All just to get to that next high. And then they all had their own, I saw this and I experienced this. I felt that. It's like, you know what? I don't want to feel any of that. I don't get high. I don't take drugs. I may drink, but that's as far as it's going to go. I'm not trying to see something or open up a door that may traumatize me for the rest of my life, because there's been reports that some of these kids have taken so much pills that they don't come back. Well, there was a parent that actually said that my daughter's been hallucinating for the last 3 days. She hasn't gone to sleep. The other day, there was a guy, he must have been maybe 28 years old, 29 years old. And for those of you guys that live here in Wilmington, I go to Banning Park a lot. It's where I take my grandbabies to go feed the squirrels. That's what we like doing. It's our little type of little zoo. There's squirrels everywhere. We take peanuts and we feed them and we play soccer there. There was a guy there hiding behind a tree. I don't know if he was hiding or not. He looked like he had been living there for the last couple of weeks. He was dirty, he was filthy. But when I got close to him, he looked like he was about 28 years old. His mind was just gone. His mind was just gone. It seems like he would startle my grandkids because he would just yell, "Hey! Hey!" at the top of his lungs. I didn't see him taking nothing. But after seeing him there so many times, I knew that his mind was gone. I take my grandbabies to McDonald's. It comes back, and he is arguing with a tree. He is arguing with a tree. He's telling them he's doing this, and he's pointing directions, and he's moving his hand gesture, and he starts yelling. And here comes another guy with him. I don't know if these two guys even knew each other. One of them looked Latino, the other guy was white. The white guy comes up, and I'm thinking, okay, he's probably going to ask this guy, who is he talking to? No. That same guy, the white guy, was also talking to the tree. Some of these guys go so far, they never come back. They've never come back. I had a friend that told me that she was on drugs, or some type of psychedelic, and she told me that she was looking at something. I'm not going to say what it was, and she believed she opened up this portal. And she said, when you take so many drugs, when you take so many, psychedelics, it's real. She said, but when I got scared, I was being sucked into it. And I turned around and the door behind me was closing. And it clicked. I wonder if some of these guys on the street have taken so much, opened up the door, walked through it, and never came back. They're talking to someone. We just don't know who it is. But we'll definitely get into that. Anything you want to add so far, Alex? Okay. Teens and young adults participate in the challenge. Now, the maximum recommended dose of Benadryl is 300 milligrams per day. Okay, equivalent to 12 tablets of 25 milligrams each. The challenge involves taking 12 to 14 tablets, nearly double the recommended daily dosage, 10 times the recommended dose for a 6-hour period. Now keep in mind, that's just a level 1. So every time you want to go up to another level and experience another type of, what is that word I'm looking for? It was just a tip of my tongue, Alex. And now my mind is gone. I can't find my notes. What is that word, Alex? Where you hallucinate. If you want to hallucinate and go deeper, you have to up the milligrams. Then the next time you go to level 2, you up the milligrams. You want to go to level 3 and see more and hallucinate more, you up the milligrams. And I don't understand how people are so influenced in doing something like this. And at excess doses, it can cause a range of dangerous side effects, including, these are some of the side effects that taking so much of these Benadryls can cause. Seizures. In other words, overdosing on Benadryl can lead to seizures, which can be life-threatening if not treated promptly. It can lead to coma. High doses can cause a person to lose consciousness and fall into a coma, which can be fatal if not addressed immediately. Heart issues. Overdosing on Benadryl can cause abnormal heart rhythms, increased heart rate, and high blood pressure, which can lead to heart attacks or cardiovascular complications. Respiratory depression. High doses of Benadryl can suppress the respiratory system, leading to slowed and stopped breathing, which can be fatal without immediate intervention. When taking a severe amount of dosage, it's not uncommon for you to hallucinate a family member or a friend, having an entire conversation, and no one is actually there. Many of us have seen people that just are talking to themselves. And I've always wondered, who are they talking to? Who do they see? What did they take? How far did they go? That they ended up frying their brain. Maybe you could help me on this, Alex. Before this whole Benadryl challenge thing that you heard of, what were some of the things that people were taking that was frying their brain, if you can recall?
There's also...
People were saying acid at one point, correct?
Yeah, acid fries your brain. I think what happens is that the acid or whatever the chemical gets into your spinal fluid, and then just you randomly get like flashbacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is saying that some common hallucinations range from you see spiders, you see snakes,
yes,
you hear footsteps, you hear voices, you see shadow people, and one common tie, doesn't matter what level you take, they all see the Hatman. Now, if we could bring up the Hatman.
Okay.
Now, level 1, I'm not going to say how many pills, and I'm not going to say how many milligrams, because the last thing that I want is some kid to hear me say it and then go take it. I'm going to go do level 1. I'm not going to be held responsible for anyone. But I will say this. In level 1, you have to take so many pills. Most people say, you know what? That's a weak one. You got to take more. You got to double it and go to level 2. You see a little bit more. You start hearing the voices. You start seeing the shadow people. You know, music intensifies, you know. But if you want to go to level 3, where pretty much everybody is at, you got to up it. You got to take more milligrams. You got to take more pills. You know, you'll probably be up for a couple of days, but you know, at least you upped it, and now you can go on TikTok and tell everybody how many pills and milligrams you took and what it did to you. You know, this generation doesn't understand what they're doing to themselves. Look, if they don't suffer from these side effects, they suffer from what they see when they hallucinate and they enter into this, what I would call a portal or a door, and they see things that now they cannot unsee. And it leaves a lasting impression on them for the rest of their life, if they're able to come out of it, if they don't suffer from seizures, if they don't fall into a coma. But I believe that level 4 is the one that everybody calls the 700 Club. And I will leave it at that. Okay? The reason why I say that, I'm not going to say how many pills you got to take. I'm not going to have nobody's life on my hands. So I'm very careful what I say, because the last thing that I want, once again, is for a child to hear this and say, I want to make it to level 4. Most people that have done this have did level 1, level 2, level 3, just so they could build up a tolerance, just so they could see more. But the 700 Club is the one that pretty much, it is like the ultimate. Now, there is a level 5, but most people say that you usually don't come back from that. If you try a level 5, you are usually have a death wish, and you pretty much don't want to come back. You're knocking on eternity's door. That's what you're doing. In my opinion, you're knocking on eternity's door when you take this many milligrams of anything. But level 4 is the 400 Club. Now, one thing, after doing my research and hearing testimonials from people that were able to come back, were able to snap out of it, they all said that they saw shadow people. They heard the voices. Many people said that they saw their parents being crucified. They hallucinated horrible, horrible things. You know, their phone dissolving in their hand, friends coming over, but friends were never there. They see lost relatives that they've lost, and they're talking to them, but they're not really there. And they all see this guy that we call the Hatman. I've spoken to him on several occasions here on the podcast. Now, I don't know who this Hatman is. Some people say he's a intradimensional being. Some people say he's a demon. I don't know who he is. But one thing that in all levels, they say that that's exactly who they see. Now, keep in mind, there has to be some type of truth to them hallucinating and seeing this Hatman guy, simply because they all see him. And we're talking about in different states, in different parts of the world, that people are doing this. How is it that they all see him? You know, if you could put up the next picture of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, who used to play for the Green Bay Packers, who now plays for the New York Jets, was on Joe Rogan, I believe. If it wasn't earlier this year, I think it was late last year. And he has said how he took ayahuasca and he was hallucinating, and how he saw the Hatman, and he began to talk about this Hatman. I have a friend that believes his house is haunted. Now, I wouldn't be sharing this story unless I've seen it myself. He has, during that time, he had a flip phone. He doesn't know how to transfer the flip phone over or email it to himself or whatnot. He's an older gentleman. But he would tell me he would sit in his garage because he believed his garage was haunted. When nobody was home, he would just flip open his phone when these flip phones were in style, and then just start taking pictures. And one time he said he heard actually footsteps of somebody walking in. this is where the garage door opens, and that's the door to his house. So he said he felt somebody come from inside of his house into his garage. And he just started taking pictures. A couple of weeks ago, he goes, come here, I want to show you something. I recharged my phone. Okay. Flipped it open, and he showed it to me. And I saw it. The only thing that didn't look like the one that I see online, everybody says that has taken this Benadryl challenge, that has hallucinated and seen his Hatman, that his eyes were red. That his eyes were red. It looks like he's wearing a trench coat. Some people say, no, it's a suit. Some people say, no, it's a cape. But he has the same type of hat, or the hat on top is just a little bit higher. But I saw it, and I didn't see his eye, but I saw it, and it just wasn't a silhouette. It wasn't like it was mist. It looked like a real person. And I told him, I want to take that off of your phone and show it to people. The only thing about today is that me editing and me shooting footage with today's technology, it's so easy to Photoshop and to do something bogus. So it's really, really hard to believe if something is real. People always show me pictures and you go, look, do you see it? I can tell it's fake. I know how to make that. But when I saw this flip phone, unless I somehow do it live, I know I open up the flip phone and then somehow downloaded it to my laptop and show it to you. That's probably about the only way that somebody would actually even believe that. So, and I asked him, I said, do you hallucinate? He goes, no. He said, I don't even drink beer. I smoke a cigarette, but that's it. He said, I don't get high or nothing. So here we have somebody that's seen this so-called Hatman. You know, when he's sober, and then you have people that take these levels of drugging themselves with over-the-counter medication just so they can hallucinate. Anything you care to add to that, Alex?
You know, it's the other thing about taking pills, and you know how you were talking about earlier, they take a mixture of them.
Yes.
That's very dangerous because, you know, they're basically chemicals, right? And
yeah.
Chemicals have reactions, you know, and that's why sometimes they tell you when you go to the doctor not to mix certain things with, you know, like you can't drink caffeine with something because it might react to it, you know?
Correct.
So it might intensify. You know, you just never know the dosage, you know?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you don't know what it could have been. And like I said, this party, I believe, like I said, it was in Tennessee, if I'm correct. And these kids were just taking 3 bottles of their parents' medications.
Yeah.
There was 25 kids there, and they threw them all in a big jar, and they were taking handfuls just to...
Yeah, because you never know. Maybe you're taking too much of something that you're allergic to. You just never know, you know? And then... when we were watching that about the 700 Club and stuff like that, you know, it's a lot of pills.
That's a lot of pills.
That's a lot. Like that whole thing right there. I think that's the amount of pills that they have to take in order to get to that.
You know, here's a part of the story that I left out. I shared it one time. And I don't like sharing it because the kid that was sharing it was terrified when he shared it. Actually, when they were interviewing him, he startled, like he was startled still. You could just tell. He was one of those kids that he said he was scared. I believe his name was Matthew, if I'm correct. I saw this about 10 years ago. And he said that he only took like a half of a handful. Kids were taking handfuls and just popping them. They were laughing. They were drinking beer. He said he just took a couple of them. He said that they were all watching TV. They were all drinking, somewhere outside, somewhere inside. And after a while, he said he felt the TV just go gray, like staticky. Okay. And he said what he saw next, he wasn't the only one that saw it. He said something came out of the TV that looked somewhat like a leprechaun. Like he explained, like the movie, The Leprechaun, the evil little guy. And that this thing called him out by name. And here's what this thing said. I once again, I believe that this kid's name was Matthew. And this thing said, Matthew, what are you doing here? Your mother's prayers aren't working. And he said he got terrified, that he looked around and those other guys saw the same thing. the same thing. He said by the time he snapped out of it, he started looking around and there were bodies of his friends there. They started going into convulsion and what they were spitting out was something black. And it was just terrible the way he was explaining it. But that's what these guys today want to do. Hey, it's on TikTok. It's cool. You know, it's fun. Let us try it. And keep in mind, parents, this could be our kids. This could be our nephews. This could be our nieces. This could be our grandchildren, you know, so we need to be careful with them, you know. And once again, if you see anybody with a duster or a computer cleaner, be careful with that because they're most likely, you know, inhaling that. If you see them with a big balloon, they're most likely inhaling that, okay? Even with today's weed, and I'm not trying to knock anybody's weed because today people who are so pro-weed, you know, they'll come at you if you pretty much put down weed. Today, I like to call it designer weed because everybody has their own strain. And a lot of times, Alex, and maybe you can answer this. When it comes to marijuana, there's dispensaries that are legit, and then there's some that are not.
Yeah.
The ones that are not, can they actually sell you something that's not really, that shouldn't be on the market?
You know, I've heard of several news articles where they're talking about they've tested weed and it's had other stuff like fentanyl in it, sprayed on it.
Fentanyl?
Yeah, and stuff like that, you know?
There's just so much out there that we don't know. That's why we need to be careful. Like, for an example, I know this to be sure, Alex, and maybe you can help me on this. Even edibles. Does it ever tell you the milligrams that is on there, or do they ever explain to you, like if they buy you one cookie, so if you buy one cookie, are you supposed to eat that entire cookie?
Well, it tells you how many milligrams that whole cookie is. So
Okay.
you have to do the math yourself, but you know,
So if you eat it all and you think you have a high tolerance and
yeah.
you start hallucinating. I had a friend. Let me tell you something about edibles. Somebody said he had a brownie, another one said he had a cookie. Both people didn't know each other. Maybe they didn't know what they were doing. I don't know. But they ate it all. One thing that they all suffer now is anxiety. Okay? Both of them truly believed that they were going to die. Now, sometimes I just kind of wonder, what is it about it that causes them to think that they're going to die? Only one guy said he hallucinated. I don't know, Alex. Your thoughts on that?
You know, yeah, you know, I was also looking at something else about, you know, because back in the days, people were tripping out on bread because there was a certain fungus that would get into the wheat.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that died from eating bread, like because it had mold. It was moldy.
Oh.
You know, and they were causing, people were hallucinating and seeing shit.
Yeah,
and a lot of people were seeing the same thing, you know?
You know, as it is, the pharmaceutical company isn't interested in healing you.
Yeah, that's true.
It benefits them to keep you sick.
Yes.
There are some people that have clearly said, hey, if I ever get sick, I'm not going to the hospital. I'm not going to the doctor.
Yeah.
I have my own reasons why I possibly wouldn't go, because I've heard things, and I heard it from people that have worked there. And this was said about 10 years ago, that if you're over a certain age and you go in there for some type of procedure, they are most likely going to speed up your death. And I've had older friends that went in for a checkup. Oh, you need this. Give them the medication. After a while, they weren't the same anymore. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. One dear friend who was a conservative, awesome, you know, smart individual. This guy, the way he dressed, the way he carried himself, his mannerisms, he was a gentleman. And we would study together. And one day he just said, I'm going to go to the hospital and I'm going to check myself out, my annual physical. They took his blood. They called him back. Oh, you need this. You're having this. You have high this. And he just said, okay, fine. I'm going to go ahead and trust it. Eventually, his mind went. And he was not that kind of man. And it started when he started going to the hospital. I knew that the hospitals are not trying to heal people. As a matter of fact, once again, it makes more money for them to keep you sick. This man started hallucinating. He started seeing things. This man actually thought he thought that they implanted in him the mark of the beast on his back. He eventually ended up throwing away his wallet, throwing away his money, and he jumped off the Long Beach Bridge over here into the waterbed. Okay. What did they give him? I have no idea. But he started hallucinating. A lot of times they see things, they get scared, they get traumatized, they want to end their lives. But it's out there, and it's affecting our youth. And it's important that our generation doesn't get turned on by the idea that you could hallucinate and see something. Watch, come with me. And let's be honest, they're using these TikToks challenges to draw our children in. So I'm going to leave it at that, Alex. So we're going to open up the phone lines because
I feel like sometimes people hear things like on podcasts, like about mushrooms and hallucinating.
Yes.
You know, and they want to try it themselves and don't know how to go about it.
No, they don't.
You know, because there's even though it's probably not something you're supposed to do, like there's a right way to go about it, and there's just like the dumb way to go about it.
Yes. So our topic today is hallucinating. Hallucinating. The 2020 started back in 2020. The TikTok Benadryl challenge, where kids are taking so many milligrams of Benadryl to hallucinate. There's level 1, there's level 2, level 3, level 4. Level 4 is a 700 club. Level 5 is if you have a death wish, you continue to take it. Most people say that you most likely will never come back from that one. Either your brain is gone or you just died. So if you have a death wish, that's what you'll do. You'll want to be a level 5 if that's how you want to be remembered. But it's affecting not only affecting, yes, hold on one second. Not only is it affecting our children. Okay, right there. But it's all over social media, and they're using TikTok to draw our children in. So the phone lines are open. If anybody wants to call in and ask a question pertaining to this, or maybe they want to share a story, or maybe you even tried it, call in and we could talk about it. I would like for you to call in and be a part of the show. When it comes to the youth, when it comes to children, me having children of my own and having grandbabies, I'm very passionate about the protection, not only of my children, but also of children. Man, look at it. If one of my kids, one of my grandkids wants to hallucinate, guess what? We're going to see a movie. That's as far as you're going to go. You're going to have, hallucinate? I'll give you a soda and we could get some popcorn and we'll watch a movie, and that's as far as we're going to go. Imagine they have nightmares just from watching movies. Okay, but now imagine they hallucinate and they see something that they can never forget. All because they took this so-called challenge because TikTok said it was cool.
I think they said that you reach a state of psychosis.
Yes.
Which, and a lot of people don't know what psychosis is.
If you can look that up for us. So once again, you guys, the number's up. If you guys don't have something you guys want as far as pertaining to the topic, then maybe we can just, let me see. Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello, caller. Okay. Let's see. Okay, caller, I answered. Okay, call back, please. Wow, Alex is looking that up.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay, go ahead. Maybe this guy will call back right now.
Okay, psychosis refers to a collection of symptoms that affect the mind where there has been a loss of contact with reality. During an episode of psychosis, a person's thoughts and perceptions are disturbed and they may have difficulty recognizing what is real and what is not.
Very, very true. Very, very true. And I think a lot of these guys that are wandering the streets, walking around, talking to whatever, have lost touch of reality. And they might not even recognize even family members. So it's a very, very sad state. And it could have started just by a simple, stupid challenge. somebody says, take this and see what it does. You know, had a guy that I knew that somebody you know how peer pressure works as when you're a young child, a young boy, and somebody convinced them to take some sherm, you know, take some sherm with me. He had never taken it before, but he smoked it like it was just a regular joint. Well, eventually he got into a state of mind where he wanted to go swimming. And so he took off his clothes. He dove into the pool, you know, head first. There was only one problem.
There's no water.
There was no water. And he paralyzed himself.
Damn, that sucks.
Okay. Now that's somebody's child now who's paralyzed because another individual pretty much challenged him. Try this with me. See what it does. Now he's stuck in a wheelchair. So, if you guys hear those bangs, that is not hypnosis. That is our fireworks. So, okay, so there's a number up? Yeah, okay, because I don't see it up here on mine, but okay. Call it if you guys want to call in. Go ahead and call in. If not, we're just going to continue to talk about it. And then about 9 o'clock, we're going to let you guys go. So, let me see this. Okay. Other than that, Alex, have you, when you first heard of this Benadryl challenge, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought it was very dumb because, you know, the long-term effect on your inner organs from taking, you know, I mean, it's one thing to try to put your mind, you know, like take your mind into another state, but like also, you know, you got to think about the consequences to your like kidneys, your liver, you know,
Absolutely.
Your lungs, you know, because I think once you take too many, like something happens to your lungs and you stop breathing.
Right.
You know, well, with mostly most drugs, even like opiates or really strong opiates, overdosing on those, that they'll stop your heart because, you know, it relaxes your muscles, you know, it just
yes. Caller, your name or where are you calling from? Caller. Okay, I don't know what's going on with it. Hello?
Oh, something.
Hello.
Yes, how you doing?
Hello.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody just texted me and told me that it's going directly to voicemail.
Yeah.
My apologies, guys. Before we went live and I logged into my phone app, I had a lot of trouble. So I'm thinking it's the app. Give me 1 second. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Tony.
Yes, sir.
Jose from Yuma, Arizona.
Jose from Yuma. Thank you, bro. How you doing tonight, man? Thank you for calling in.
Good, man. Good. Thank you. So, I experienced a little bit of hallucinations with mushrooms a while back.
Okay. Share with us your experience.
It wasn't for me. I did it. Well, it gave me the sweat, bad sweat. But what tripped me out was got me nauseous, made me throw up. So I went to the toilet. When I threw up, flushed the toilet, right? Everything came out, you know, the clear water. On the toilet bowl, I kept seeing like witchcraft signs.
Mm.
Like, I've seen these signs before, you know.
Yeah.
I know what they are, but I was seeing them all over the toilet bowl.
Mm.
And for some reason, I couldn't walk, so I was kind of like stumbling, crawling a little bit to the bed. When I got to the bed, I totally passed out. And my cousin walked in, and he said I was like twisted, kind of like if I was like possessed.
Mm.
Like if I was possessed, like.
Yeah. Now was this the only time you ever tried it?
Well, the second time, I was out in the desert, and there was a lot of signs, you know, like turn here, and it's like an arrow.
Yeah.
Well, all those arrow signs, they look like snakes.
Wow.
They kept moving. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I just moved to Denny, New Mexico, and I searched a little bit of the history here in Denny, and it's pretty haunted, man. But this is where Charles Manson said that the gateways of hell were open. This is part of the triangle that he was talking about.
Oh wow. And you
This
went
is
there.
one of his playgrounds where he played. This is my second day here, so I do want to go check it out. And they said that this is where he played also. This is one of his playgrounds, like where he took, a lot of drugs and stuff like that. But look it up, man. It's on Denny, New Mexico. Charles Manson.
I'll definitely check that out, man. Sounds interesting. Maybe he knew where the portal was.
It's pretty creepy. I looked into it. It doesn't say, man. Well, I haven't read a lot about it, but I was early on there, and I just wanted to bring this up too because I know you're a big fan of the serial killers, and I was amazed. I was like, whoa, it was actually around this area.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I looked into it, man. Denning's actually pretty creepy.
Yeah. You know what? Go check it out. And
it's a nice town. It's a nice little town, but it's creepy.
Okay, when you check it out, make sure you call us back and let us know how we went.
Definitely, man. I'll probably send you some pictures on your email.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
The freaky stuff, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man.
Okay, brother. You have a blessed night.
You have a good night, man. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, so the phone's lines are working. I don't know why we did it. You know what I did, Alex? I actually took it off Wi-Fi. So I don't know why Wi-Fi might be blocking it, but oh well. So once again, the phone lines are open. Let's see. Call it your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, Tony. Bosley from the Cosmos.
Bosley, how you doing? It's been a while since you've called.
I know. Sometimes my phone call doesn't get to go through.
Okay. All good. But yeah, we're talking about hallucinations and the TikTok Benadryl challenge that people take so many milligrams so they can hallucinate. Many of them don't come back, and and many of them, suffer from side effects.
Oh, yeah, that is so sad. This is what's happening to the new generation.
Yes. Yes.
That is so sad. That Benadryl one, I hadn't heard from that one, but the marijuana one. I have an 18-year-old son, and I am concerned, just as you are, with our kids in this generation.
Yes.
And sometimes he likes to smoke vape, and it's something that I am against, and I'm trying to speak to him out of it, but there's only so much we can do. We just have to keep an eye on them, and sometimes we can be a nag because that can complicate the problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you know how they are. Sometimes they just want to go against us. Oh, well, our parents tell us not to do it, but it's my own free will. I'm gonna do it no matter what.
Right.
So the best thing to, talk to them and, show them that we care, keep an eye on them, because unfortunately, they're not only contaminating all of this, but the water, the food, the air, and, the water is contaminated with urine. The drugs are intentionally out there to commit genocide to all of our race, especially the Aztec race and the Black race. And so our kids, since it's the most vulnerable member in our family, it is how these demons come in through. And so I wanted to, since I'm worried about marijuana, or I don't know if I can say this on here, but one thing that I heard in the past, and sometimes I speak to some of my spiritual leaders.
Yes.
And so remember when we were seeing a lot of videos from people becoming zombie-like, where they were just moving like, you know, nonstop. Their bodies would move. They would kick and throw punches, and they couldn't stop after taking some sort of drug. And most of the time, this was La Flaca. I don't know if you ever got to see those videos.
No, but I've heard of what you're saying.
Yeah, so La Flaca is supposed to be marijuana with some serious chemicals in it, and it's more like a brain-eating chemical, such as and close as ammonia. And once that enters the body, it actually affects the brain so horribly bad to where the human body's pretty much dying slowly, starting with the brain. And this is why the kicking and everything starts nonstop. So in the world of science, we physically see it in this dimension as how we see it in the videos. But in the spiritual world, what happens is that these chemicals, when they enter the body, our electromagnetic field, our auric field, or our aura becomes cracked. When it becomes cracked, that's where the entities can enter the body, the brain, and not only one or two. I mean, this is several. And sometimes, I don't know if you've seen these videos, but if you ever have the chance, look up one, La Flaca attacking people, and then you'll see what I mean. But
Alex,
what happens?
Are you familiar with that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, you can continue.
What happens is that when the cops are called to control this person, let's call him zombie, because at this point, when they've already taken this chemical, La Flaca, or, you know, any of these chemicals that are being contaminated on purpose to commit genocide to any race, you know, this is intentionally put out there by the people that you least imagine, because they're the ones who order this out of the country to be brought in. Tony, the tunnels that we have from Mexico, that they so claim that they're made from Mexico into the U.S., is the total opposite. They're made from the U.S. into Mexico to bring that shit inside.
Yes.
So this is what upsets me the most, that is attacking the children.
Yeah.
But okay, I'll try not to get upset. Anyway, let's go back to the zombie. The zombie, it takes once you have cracks in your auric field, these entities can come in, and they not only get one or two, they get several. This is why it takes several cops to control a person, because 2 cops, 3 cops cannot control this person or take control over them until they have to call several of them. This is how powerful these bad entities take over, and the body becomes super strong. This is why they're called zombies, because they're just so strong, nothing can stop them. Yeah. And this is why it's so important to talk to our children and stuff like that. But, you know, only if needed. But if we don't see something happening to them, I'd rather not even bring it up, because we don't want to give them ideas.
Yeah, we don't want to give them the curiosity. Yeah, I understand.
Exactly.
But thank you, Bosley. We always enjoy your phone calls over here. Thank you, and appreciate you being a part of the show tonight.
Thank you, Tony. You guys have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, let's keep the phone calls rolling. About to be 9 o'clock, 4th of July tomorrow. I'm asking everybody to be safe out there. Please be safe. You know, the last thing we want is somebody's house getting on fire, and the last thing we want is anybody getting hurt.
Hey, you know, when she was mentioning that, I was thinking about the Thai sticks.
Okay, give me 1 second. We have a call. Yeah, have a good night. Hello, caller. Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Hello?
Trevor,
Hello?
Mr. Trevor.
Okay, I don't know who that is. But let's go ahead and let me screenshot that number. Okay, so let me see. All right, caller, I got your number. So let's see. If you're going to call, please turn down your television, okay? And we'll go from there. All right, so the phone lines are open. Anybody wants to call in, let's go. How we doing over there, Alice? You good?
Good. I was telling you about the Thai sticks. I remember that a few OGs told me that before they used to be dipped in opiates. And so it was weed with opium dipped in, they used to call it Thai sticks.
Oh, okay.
Because it came from Thailand.
Okay. Okay, let me see. Thank you, everybody. Once again, those of you that are participating. Let me see. Caller, your name, where are you calling from?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
What's good, my brother? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing pretty good right now, man. You know what? So once again, the topic is hallucinations. Hallucinating, people pretty much taking Benadryl to pretty much participate in a TikTok challenge that's having kids that are not coming back from these experiences.
Yeah, I saw that. There's some crazy stuff. No, I wanted to talk about the weed stuff you were talking about. You know, because I'm a weed smoker, but it's crazy because I always tell people I only buy from dispensaries. My stepdaughter, she wanted to smoke, and I always told her, she's of age, she's 20. So I was like, you want to smoke? Let me know. But she went with some friends, and they went to a dispensary, and they bought a cart. And I guess she took a couple of hits of the cart, and dude, for like the next 3 days, she was like tripping out, like big time, bro. Like it was crazy. Like she said she was seeing like just like monsters, demons, like just crazy stuff. And we got scared, so we ended up taking her to the doctors, and we're like, and they ended up saying that she had like Adderall, she had like freaking coke, she had all this crazy stuff in her body, dude. It was insane, bro.
Wow. And now, was this a legit dispensary, or where did she get this?
No, that's what I'm telling you. Yeah, it must have been because here in Vegas it's a little different than Cali. Because I'm originally from Cali. I'm from San Diego originally. Okay. So in Cali they have all these like fake dispensaries, and you could tell right away, right? Because when you walk into a dispensary in Cali and if they offer you like a bong, that's a fake dispensary. You know what I mean? Ain't no dispensary offering you that. In Vegas, all the dispensaries are like medical centers, dude. They're not like, you can touch the weed, you can smell it, but you can't even, you can't, you put it to you in a steel bag, and it's really like, the way they do it here is very top notch. It's good. But she said the dispensary she went to, I guess it was like her friend's dispensary, and it wasn't like a real dispensary. You know what I mean? It was like one of those fake ones. And yeah, man, that's why I tell people be careful with even weed. You know what I mean? Because people are crazy these days.
Hey, you know what? And you're absolutely right on that. Alice, do you care to add anything on that? Is there a lot of them that are just kind of like experimenting with some, I forgot what strains that thinking that people are going to like it and they come back, but they're really releasing a bunch of poison?
Yeah, you just never know what you're smoking, man.
Yeah. So, well, the good thing is, man. Yeah, and the good thing is that she snapped out of it, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, she snapped out of it, and now she, if she wants weed, she's always like, "Hey, Dad, can you get, whatever." And I'll get it from the dispensary, but just flower. I tell her all the time I don't like messing with the gummies because like you mentioned earlier, the thing with edibles is, if you pay attention, it's right. But the thing is, they'll sell you an edible. Like even the other day I was at the dispensary, and the lady was like, "Oh, you want this brand new liquid, THC that we have?" And I looked at it, and I'm like, "That's 100 milligrams?" And she's like, "Yeah." I go, "That's a small little bottle. Like most kids would most people would just take the whole thing. That's 100 milligrams. It's insane to take that at once. But people, they don't pay attention, and they just take it all, And
No, and you're right.
I mean, it's crazy.
You're absolutely right, because I've had friends that thought that their tolerance was high when it came to edibles, and they would get like a little square of brownie, and they were told just to eat a little square, a little corner. They said, I didn't feel anything. 40 minutes later, grabbed another one. I didn't feel anything. Before you knew it, they ate the whole thing, and then he couldn't move. They couldn't move.
Yeah. No, so true. Man, I want to call in on on another time that you guys are up, because I got a bunch of like crazy stories. I know sometimes you talk about different things, but I have a bunch of crazy, like freaky stories, like about like just seeing different like things, you know what I mean, and stuff. But I'll call in on another day, and when you guys are talking about it, and I'll share some of those stories. But yeah, I lived in San Ysidro, and we used to be able to see, just real quick to tell you, we used to see like there's a billboard in San Ysidro. You can still look it up on YouTube, and the Virgin Mary used to show up on that billboard, because a little girl was killed in San Ysidro, and that little girl showed up on the billboard. But there's a bunch of stories that have like that, and it's crazy. But I'll call on another day.
All good, my bro. Thank you for taking the time and being a part of the show, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, no, I love it. Freaky Tales, Rhodium Radio. I'm a big fan, bro. You know what I mean? Thanks.
Thank you, my bro. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a blessed night.
Okay.
Peace. Oh, yeah. Here we go. All right. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Fred from Soledad, my brother. How you doing tonight, man?
Fred, how are you tonight?
Good, brother. Good, man. No, you know what? Great topic tonight, man. What you're talking about, you know what? About the whole hallucination thing, bro.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm not a drug user, bro. I'll put it like that. I'm not trying to sound all, that
right.
I'm all innocent, but I'm not a drug user, bro. But I have experienced in watching other people hallucinate, where they're actually, and I'm being honest, and it wasn't funny then. It sounds funny now, that they're actually seeing people supposedly being intimate like 5 feet away from them, and there's nobody there, bro.
Wow.
And thinking that, my ex-husband's like hiding right there behind the fence, and one time this girl was telling me, oh, he's hiding right there, and then I was looking, and she was like, we were in her car, and I said, I don't see nothing, and she like grabbed the back of my head and smashed it against the window. At that point, I was like, oh yeah, I saw him. I just said it just to, kind of, just for her to leave me alone.
Yeah.
And she goes, see, I told you, there was actually nothing, bro. She was on a bad one, bro, for like, I want to say for about 4 days.
Wow.
I've also experienced with people who they stayed high, bro. They laugh to themselves, they talk to themselves, and just because they don't, I guess their drink or whatever drug they took was laced with something or a high, potence of whatever it was, and they never came back.
No, and that's the sad part, man, that they never come back,
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll close this off with this, bro. And again, bro, you know what? I'm not anti-cannabis, bro. I don't do it, but if that's what helps, maybe cancer patients or whatever it is, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's more power to them. The only thing I don't agree with, brother, is that they have these products that have the same labels as, for example, like a bag of chips, candies, sodas, or whatever it is, bro. And it's basically, it's, you could, if you're some kind of creep or whatever, you hand it to somebody else, kids, for example, they don't know the difference, bro. They'll take it and not know what it is, that's the sad part. And I say that to say this, bro. I have a friend who his son went to a ball game for the school or whatever, and the kid ended up in the hospital because somebody gave him a muffin, and he was eating some of the muffin, and he started to freak out, bro. It was a cannabis muffin, bro. And that's the thing now, that you can, they can push that to kids and to whoever and drug them, dude. That's the only thing I don't agree with. You know what I mean? It should be recreational use, within your household, if that's what you do. a lot of people think because it's legal, they can, you know what, I've been parked at a store and people, you know, fire up next to me and I'm like, I have my kids in my car, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a DUI, you know, in California.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, I'm not being anti. I'm not trying to sound all like I'm square or nothing, but, you know, you know, people need to take it like alcohol, bro. You know, if you don't do it, don't be driving. Don't be out there. Do it within your, you know, within your home, bro, and then don't push it to kids. You know, that's all I'm saying, bro.
All good,
that's all
my
I'm saying.
Thank you, Matt, bro, for calling in and being a part of the show.
All right. You know, bro. Have a good one, bro.
Peace. It's all good. Fred from Soledad, thank you for calling in. We got a few more minutes. Anybody want to call in? And once again, we're talking about hallucinations. The TikTok Benadryl challenge, where kids are upping the milligrams just to hallucinate, just to see what they can see. And the sad part is that many of them are not coming back from these experiences. So all just for them to see or hallucinate something. But once again, one thing that they all have in common, and many of them do not even know each other, they all see this Hatman. They don't know who he is. They don't know what he wants, but he appears to everyone. Here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Is this Tony Tranzas?
Yes. Go ahead. Why you hang up, bro? Okay. Let me see. You know what, Alex? Let's go ahead and put that number up really fast. 562 543 4321. If you guys want to give that guy a call and ask him what he wanted, why did he hang up on me when I answered his phone call, you guys can. That's his number right there. Anybody that calls in and acts dumb like that, honestly, we're trying to take something serious on a serious note, and you guys want to call in to play around, I'll put your phone number up there, okay? So just so you guys know. All right. Let's see. We got a couple of more minutes. Once again, if you guys want to go ahead and call in and talk about what we have been talking about, the hallucinations, the Hatman. You know, it's sad to say these kids overdosing over a TikTok Benadryl challenge on who could take the most milligrams. You know, so it's something dangerous, and I just believe it had to be brought up not only for the safety of the kids, but also because of the hallucination of what they're seeing. And it's something that they're all saying that they're seeing is the shadow people, voices, footsteps, and the Hatman. So we're putting that there. Other than that, Alex, anything on your end?
No.
Okay. Now, what one of the callers was talking about that in the weed, I guess that his niece, I believe, said smoked, that there was fentanyl and there were other things in there. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see who this caller is. Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Caller. Yo. Okay. And it obviously that's by design, correct? Somebody put that in there. They made that strain, Alex?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, next time, can you say a little bit more other than, yeah?
No,
okay,
yeah,
here we go. Caller, your name and where are you calling from? Hello, caller. Okay. I don't know what's going on with the phone today. Maybe it's the Hatman blocking our phone calls. But that's 2 in a row. But here we go. Let's see this. Caller, your name and where are you calling from?
Sam from Riverside.
Sam from Riverside. How you doing tonight?
Oh, great. I just wanted to touch on something. You know, you're touching on about hallucinations and human beings, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that when you're like, let's say you've been up all night or you haven't got any sleep and you've been out somewhere, right? And like, you say you're driving home and you're like trying to stay up, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to stay awake, falling asleep, your door's on the road. You can actually see shit. Like, you can see like I don't know, like there was an experience I had where I had went to a casino. It was called Puma out there in South San Diego, over there, like in
Alex.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Puma reservation. It's like Apollo, way over there in by Escondido, like in the hills over there.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that area?
Yeah.
You know Paula, the casino? It's like a windy road. It's like in the middle of the mountain. Me and my lady one time we stayed up till like 3 a.m, just like gambling and having a good time, right? But we were like trying to stay up because we had a long ride and we had to go all the way back to Riverside, about 2 hour drive, right? We're coming down that road, the Paula Road that takes you to the casinos right there, to like Paula and Puma. Well, on the way back, it was already 3 a.m. It was like a foggy, like cold morning, right? We were driving down the road and like, we were trying to stay up, we were trying to stay awake. And all of a sudden, like when I'm driving, I see like a walking mist, like a fog, like it looked like the shape of a person, but it looked like a walking mist, like a walking fog person, And I was like, in my head, I was like, I ain't even gonna say nothing to her because I don't want to freak her out. So I kept it to myself. And then like a few days later, I told my lady, hey, did you see that walking fog? Like, yeah, I saw it, but I didn't want to tell you because I don't want to freak you out either. So like we both saw that shit, but we were like fucking like, like half asleep. You were like trying to stay awake that night. So I believe like when you're like trying to stay awake, you see things and that. You can actually see stuff,
Yeah. No, I believe you, bro. I believe you. Now, was that
I looked it up on the internet.
Was that the only time that happened to you?
Well, excuse me?
Was that the only time that happened to you?
Well, yeah, when I see like actual fog, like a walking mist, like a fog crossing the street.
Yeah.
Like in the shape of a person. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But I looked it up after that road doesn't have activity. Like it has like a haunted like path, I guess.
Okay. I didn't know about that, but I'll definitely look it up now that you're giving us the info.
Yeah, so it confirmed it once I looked it up after that, so I was tripping out, but I just want to share that story, man, because, I do believe, like, if you're having sleep, you can see shit, man.
Okay.
And, my lady confirmed it too,
Yeah. Well, no, that's good, man. I'm glad you called in, bro.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for taking the time, man. I'm a fan of your show. I listen to this show all the time whenever I get a chance,
Thank you, my bro. No, I appreciate you calling in and being a part of the show.
No problem, man. Have a good night, man.
You too, my brother. Okay, thank you, caller, for that. It's just a little hard to, I don't know if you had me in the speaker or something, but it was just a little hard to hear you. Didn't you feel the same way? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to take about 2 more phone calls. Whoever wants to call in right now and be a part of the show. Once again, we're talking about hallucinations. We're talking about these challenges, you know what? And that's one thing that we need to help and educate our kids. The last thing we want is for them to think that it is something fun and then they see something where they're traumatized, for the rest of their life, because these things can traumatize you. So you were going to add something to that, Alex. You were going to say something. I guess the other caller said that the weed was laced with fentanyl or something like that.
Yeah, sometimes the weed isn't as good as you think, and, they spray with stuff to keep it from drying out and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to buy dry weed either,
See, and it's funny because when it comes to like stuff like that, I have no idea anything about that. Now, I think the most I ever got into was when I was youngster, when I was nickel and diming selling dope, you buy a couple of dime bags of weed so you can resell them and stuff like that. But that was about it. But I didn't know if it was any good or not, So, growing up, I remember a joint was $1, And like now, can you still find one for $1? I can't hear you, bro.
Yeah, but it's going to be dirt. Dirt weed.
It'll probably give you a headache, huh?
Yeah, it's zacate.
Okay. So let me see. Let me go ahead and get out of here. Those are not gunshot, guys. It's kind of loud, but okay, let me see. Okay. We're just going to go ahead, and that was our last caller. Let's go ahead and take these off. I don't know what was up with the connection with the calls today. So once again, I apologize to everybody who was trying to call in. Like I said, I don't know what happened, but I want to thank every single one of you guys once again for tuning in. Anything, Alex, you want to you want to say as far as you want to add to what we've been talking about in closing?
Yeah, drugs and stuff like that, and pills and hallucinating, like from what I know is when you start hallucinating, it's not good.
Yeah.
And because I heard, if you also have like a bad fever, you can also hallucinate.
I heard the same thing.
And there's just different things that can happen to you. Like it doesn't only have to be taking pills and stuff. Even not taking care of yourself or eating moldy food.
Yeah, you know which one I knew as a society we had gone too far when people start talking about licking a frog's back for you to hallucinate. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I think even The Simpsons has like an episode on that.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, for those of you that have never heard it, I heard it where there's a certain type of frog, obviously, that if you just were to lick his back, that it's like a psychedelic, and you would start hallucinating. Me personally, Alex, I've never been the type that was drawn to stuff like that. But let me share something with you about the music industry. I've been in rooms with big name rappers. You name them, most likely I've been in the room. And if it wasn't a studio session that I got invited to be a part of, or maybe it was a backstage VIP room, whether it was Jay-Z, whether it was Game or whoever, okay? Milli Vanilli, I've been in backstage with Milli years ago. One time I met them. Dr. Dre or whoever. And I don't say that as in bragging, but just to kind of give you an example of the type of rooms that I've been in. I've been blessed and fortunate to talk music with a lot of them. But when stuff starts getting passed around, I'm good. Like, I'm good. I don't take stuff from other people. If I'm in those rooms and you're going to hand me a beer, do not hand me an open beer. I want to open it. Don't serve me a shot unless I see that bottle opened. That's just the way I've always been. People have handed me joints and said, here you go. And this guy is known worldwide. Who wouldn't want to, take a hit, of this joint with this well-known, not only rapper, but movie star? And I still said no. The atmosphere in there was so thick that you could have cut it with a knife. And that if you're a weak person and you see that many celebrities in one room, you could literally be sucked into something, to doing something you don't want to do or something normally you wouldn't do. And I've seen it where dudes never smoked weed before, but here comes a celebrity, hits it, gives it to him. You don't even know what's in that. And these guys take it. There was this one guy that two megastars are smoking a joint and they hand it to me. And I said, I don't smoke. Cool, I can respect that. Another guy walks in that I know, and he hits it and he goes, watch this. And he tells those two guys that already offered me this, I'm going to get him to take it. Here you go. And I went off at him. I said, look, dude, if I told them no, and they're bigger than you, who in the hell are you to try to, provoke me into doing something I don't want to do? But keep in mind that that's just the industry. And many times, people will hand you something. Here, take it with me. I've been handed little baggies of Coke. Here, take a hit with me. I'm good, man. I'm good. You sure? They handed me something that looked like sunflower seeds, and I go, what's that? Oh, just take a little pinch. What is it? Oh, it's mushrooms. I'm good. I'm good. So when it comes to stuff like this, we may think it's fun because we're in a location maybe where there's a bunch of people hanging out, having a good time. The celebrities here. Maybe it's a night you can't, you'll never forget. I'm sorry. You can miss me with that. I'm not easily persuaded. I've always been a strong man. And I say that to say this. And for a lot of you men out there, a lot of you young men, a lot of you fathers, please teach your sons and daughters to be strong. Not to be easily persuaded to take something just because a celebrity or somebody popular or a TikTok challenge is trying to provoke you or trying to influence you to do something. And if you don't do it, you're not cool. I'm sorry. I would rather not be with that so-called in crowd. I like breathing. I'd rather stay alive, So with that being said, Alex, anything else? Anything else you want to share before I give my shout outs?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of people out here taking drugs and staying up for days, and you know, it's just very bad when you get to the point where you don't know what's real and what's not. You know, and and I've seen a few people make it to that. You know, and the problem is that sometimes you may, like, you go too far, you might not come back.
You may not come back. So,
Yeah,
okay.
That's it, man.
With that being said, you know, I want to thank everybody, all of our subscribers. I want to thank all of our Freaky Tail fans. I want to thank all of our callers. I even want to thank our crank callers. You know, if you're going to crank call, at least say something, bro. You know, don't just say something dumb and just hang up. So, but I just want to thank everybody who decided not to be on the live chat. Those are in the live chat. Please hit the like button. I'm encouraging you to hit the like button. And once again, I want to encourage you fathers and you mothers to please watch over your children. Do not let them be influenced easily on social media. If you have to monitor them, you know, then do that. I'm not saying that we have to police them 24/7, but the last thing that we want is for them to accept some type of goofy challenge and then they never come back home to us. And when I say come back home to us, it could be literally or it could be mentally where they never come back home. Because I truly do believe, and I'm just going to throw this out there, that the enemy is not after us, they're after our children. That's what they're after. So with that being said, I want to thank Alex Cervantes Enterprise. I want to thank the Hip Hop Jedi. I want to thank Marvelous Inc., my co-host. I want to thank Forever Genesis from Dark Secrets. Make sure you guys subscribed to her Dark Secrets. And I want to thank my son, B. Scanless. And I ultimately want to thank you guys. Thank you guys. You guys are the ones that keep me going. I'm coming to the end of 5 years on my other podcast, and I'm probably going to stop podcasting on that podcast. So once again, I'm not 100% sure, but right now I'm pretty much 75% sure I'm going to stop. Somebody asked me the other day why, and I said because it's been 5 years, you know, and I feel that I did what I was supposed to do. Okay, I may keep this one going. I'm not sure. I love the paranormal thing, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So other than that, thank you guys. Much love and respect to you guys. Truly appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys soon. You guys know that I've had Afro here twice on Freaky Tales when we did movie reviews. Saturday, he will be on my other podcast on my Tony Vision page talking about conspiracies. Saturday after dark with Afro on conspiracies. So see you guys Saturday night. Thank you.